Hey there, this is Carlos Scarpero, VA Mortgage Specialist at Ross Mortgage, Military Mortgage Boot Camp. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Blue Water Navy Veterans Act of 2019 that was recently passed. This law goes into effect January 1st, 2020. There are some things you need to know about this law. There are actually a couple of things I want to address in this law. So the first thing is the zero down cap has been lifted. The zero down cap has always been kind of a misnomer. They called it a cap on zero down. It wasn't truly a cap. It was a cap on, people thought that it meant that you couldn't buy over the Fannie Mae limit. You absolutely could. What that means is that if you're buying over that limit, then you have to pay 25% of the difference between the Fannie Mae limit and the loan amount as a down payment. So, for example, under the old guidelines, it was 484,350 was the Fannie Mae limit. So if you're buying 584,350, you would need to bring 25,000 down, 25% of that $100,000 difference. That's going away in 2020 in certain cases, not all cases, but in certain cases. So, for example, if someone doesn't have a VA loan now, or doesn't have a VA loan at closing, I should say, and they decide to buy a home that's $700,000. And maybe they have a VA loan coming into closing, but they do a simultaneous close where they sell their house first, restore that entitlement, day of closing, and then an hour later they go and buy that new house. That's perfectly fine. So they're buying that second house that's $700,000. That's over the limits, obviously. Under the old rules, they're having to bring some money to closing, and the new rules, zero down, even for $700,000. Beautiful thing, zero down for $700,000. So for you realtors out there, if you're doing some high-end properties, start to really think about how can you find some veterans that can go into these properties. Because absolutely, there's people out there that make that kind of money that can qualify. Maybe they don't. Maybe they haven't money put down, but they got it in investments. That's probably even more common that they have it in investments, but they're wanting to put it in other things. Perfectly fine. So it's something to consider there. Now, for someone that wants to keep their current home, maybe they didn't find a buyer for the current home, and they want to have two homes at the same time, even if it's temporarily. In those cases, then the old rules still apply, and I can give you that formula. And certainly, if you have a situation where you have someone that's to retain the property, either to rent it out or just temporarily, let me know. We can go through that formula, kind of figure out what that down payment is, and go from there. So that is the zero down cap being lifted portion of the new law. Now, the second part we need to talk about is funding fees are changing in 2020. Now, this is based on the close date. Keep this in mind, based on the close date, not the application date. So if you have someone that's applying right now in December 2019, keep that in mind because it might be closing in 2020. They most likely are. So for the funding fee, it's a whole chart of funding fees, but for most people, it's going up by 0.15. So, for example, right now for a first-time buyer that's non-exempt that was active duty, it's currently at 2.15% is the funding fee. That's actually going at 2.3%. So it's not a huge difference for most people, but every penny counts, right? A few $100. Now, for someone that was a reservist before, it's actually going down. So for people that are reservists, it's actually going down from 2.4 to 2.3. There was a distinction between reservists and active duty people. That's actually going away under the new law, which I think is great. So everybody's going to be at 2.3. It's only for a couple years, and then they're going to adjust that back down. And I have a whole schedule on my website, but long story short, after several years, it's actually going to be the same as now, and then a few years after that, it's actually going to be lower than it is now, which is kind of cool. But keep that in mind when you're talking to those borrowers, and maybe you got one that's close to closing, and you're trying to decide you're going to close January 30, December 31, or January 1, and it's a VA borrower. I would say try to close in December. Commission order too, which is a nice bonus on that. So keep that in mind. As always, if you have any questions about VA loans, whether it's funding fees, whether it's Blue Water, whatever it is, give me a call. My number is 937-572-3713. That number again is 937-572-3713. I can also be reached at scarpero.com. That's SCARPERO.com. PERO.com. I'm licensed in Ohio, Kentucky, and Michigan. Love to talk to you. Thanks.